that was a bit loud. Sorry, welcome to Porch Reflections. So I have my cup of tea, and I'm glad to be back. First off, I just really want to thank everyone for being on the other end of this and having an opportunity just to reflect on how things have been going for me and what's coming through for me to share. And just you get to take it and either run with it and or reflect on it or just enjoy a few moments sitting and exchanging in some way with me. So, Porch Reflections. This series that I'm doing is called Life Force. Life Force. So these are the life forces that have been influencing me greatly these last couple of years. And so I would say that I have allowed myself to realize that there are life forces that come through that can be a greater teacher to me than the teachings that I could pursue at this point in my life, right? So for me, at this time in my life, using the life forces that are coming and exposing themselves to me is the greatest teacher possible right now. And that's where I'm trusting, and that's where all of the teachings that I'm bringing forward are coming from. So I'm going to give you a definition. This is the Oxford Dictionary of life force. The force or influence that gives something its vitality or strength. And then the second one is the spirit or energy that animates living creatures. The soul. So it actually says the word the soul. So we could consider that there are life forces all around us. Right? There are life forces all around us. And they are influencing us for our strength and vitality. Right? And so the greatest, of course, is that animating into the soul. Right? So when we came to be, there was an animation that made us these living, breathing beings, these human beings. For me, I've had lots of experience journeying back to that time and imagining and feeling into that. But more so, it's what's available and what's happening right here and the now, right? I'm a very much that kind of person. So the first of the ones that I will be speaking of is the ocean. And when I say ocean, I mean the bodies of water, right? So the great bodies of water, whether it's the ocean, whether it's the sea, whether it's the Gulf, whether it's a river, lake, brook, stream. Not so much a man-made pond, right? Ones in nature, the ones in nature. And why I feel them as such an important part of my life is that they are an opportunity for me to remove myself from things that are created by human, by the matter that is created by human, the houses, the buildings, the roads, the bridges, all the things that create a comfortable life for us. There is a barrier as you head towards the bodies of water, right? Whether it's a beach, whether there's a path that's stone, whether there's some grass, whether there's some trees, but there's always a barrier, right? There's something of nature that gives me space from the world that has been created by man versus the world that is created more naturally. Now, that being said, yes, trees are planted and beaches are created and paths are created. So I know that. But they are coming from more raw and natural materials. And mostly I try to actually get to myself to the places that are natural, that they're not man-made, that there is very little influence on that experience. Okay? So the ocean, for me, has exposed itself as the all-knowing. Right? The all-knowing. And there's many reasons why that has come to the surface. It's that a body of water, the ocean, and I'll keep using the word ocean, has experienced it all, right? There's life and death, right? There's life and death in the ocean and on the ocean. And so there's sort of two aspects. It's what we can learn from the ocean itself, and then we can learn as our relationship with it, right? As a human, and the experience I have with this all-knowing force. So, life and death. And one of the things that's beautiful right now, one of the most profound things I've watched is looking at some of the documentaries that go into the deep sea and to look at evolution happening, right? They're photographing and showing us how species evolve for their ability to stay alive, right? To be able to stay and exist. That there's an evolution. And I have long felt that we are in sense of denial that we're in evolution, right? That we feel that our lives are too short and we can't feel our evolution. And I'm believing that that's not true, that I can actually feel the evolution of myself, my cells, my body, my psyche, my emotional body. I can feel and I can be very witness to the evolution of myself. Right? And so I watch a lot of those beautiful documentaries on the ocean because I can see the evolution is being shown to me in very beautiful ways that can actually sort of transport me and make me feel something, and that feeling is a feeling that resonates, and then I come back into my body and I take that resonance and I feel exactly that same thing, right? And I can feel that sense of evolution. The life and death, right? That many people die on the ocean, right? They die in the seas. And that has a ripple effect into the human experience, right? In the sadness, the loss, the death. I know people who have died at sea. I know people have been profoundly affected by the loved one that dies at sea, right? And so there's great sorrow. There's great sorrow, loss, death, tragedy. War. The wars have happened with the battleships going on the ocean to get to the other places, and there's been battles, and great ships have sunk, and there has been great death, coming down and going into, and it never goes away because we're always finding more things of the death that happens. I'm reminded here in Mobile, Alabama, because of the battleship. We have a battleship here that's a museum. I drive by it 3 days a week, and it keeps reminding me, right? I see that thing, and I see death on the waters. I see the power, the destruction, all that war may mean to you. And for me, I have a father who fought in the war, so it's real time for me that my father was in the experience of not being on a ship, but being in a war, and knowing very well what that encompasses, okay? So you can see how the ocean has an all-knowing to all that has happened. If we just take life and death, right? So with the life, the creation, the evolution of us, that sends a sense of wonder and a sense of awe and intrigue, and it moves us forward. Death, dying, sorrow, sadness, misery, collapse, often, and destruction in one's psyche or one's emotional body, right? So there is within me the capacity for me to know life and death. Because in the ocean is a drop of water. And then in that drop of water is the ocean. And that molecule, what it has in it is H2O plus other things. What I have inside of me, H2O plus other things. But there is a waterness to me, and there's a large percentage of our body that's water. So within every cell, within me, there is this capacity to have the ocean in me, right? And that ocean in me is the all-knowing. So why is this important, or why has this become important? Well, I'm very fortunate in my work that I sit with people that often have pain. Now, not always physical pain, sometimes it's psychic pain, emotional pain, but it's pain nonetheless, or it is uncertainty, or it is sadness, or depression, or anxiety, like some of these things that, well, I have that in me too, right? So I have it in me too. So as I sit with it, I drop into the sense of my water and my feeling that I'm the all-knowing. And although I may not have experienced what they've experienced, their story, their actual, how it's manifested in them, it's in me, and it's in me to know it, right? So I can drop into that and know that I know, and then I can be more resonant with them, and as I become more resonant, I can attune to their experience. I can attune to them and how it's manifesting in them, right? And then I can use my eyes and my ears, and I can notice how best I can be with that person. So my ask of all of us is the ocean is the all-knowing, that it has everything in it, happiness. People go to the ocean and they play, right? There's windsurfing and kite surfing and sailing and motorboating and water tubing and just everything. Like you get in the water and there's a playfulness. You can play in the water. You can exude a lot of energy and playfulness and fun, and it can leave you feeling very, very rewarded by the time that you've played in the water. We also know that if you walk along a shoreline or sit by the water and watch the waves come in, that there's a calming to the nervous system, there's a relaxation that happens. Have a conversation with anyone about the ocean and they'll tell you how it makes them feel. There's no denying that we can be by an ocean and feel and easily express that to anyone. It's an easy way for us to express ourselves. So the ocean has it all. It has it all, and in that, it's in me. And when it's in me, it's in you. And when I see it in you, I can see it in me. And although we may have completely different lives, I can be in the experience of being with you. I don't have to run away. I don't need to change you, fix you. And there's just a way of being present. I'm going to touch on one last thing. Empathy is a word that's used a lot right now. And I think a lot of people are trying to become more empathetic. And I would say, be in the experience of the all-knowing. If you already know this person, if you know because you have the energy of ocean, if you close your eyes and think of water or ocean, and think of the all-knowing presence of the ocean, it has touched every shore, every nation, every part of humanity knows and has touched water in some way. That experience gives you a presence that is the exact presence that needs to be there. And I would say that that is possibly what empathy is, but it's not something to go after. It's not something to learn. It's not a skill set. I don't believe that. I believe that it truly is tapping inward, feeling and experiencing, and allow yourself to be yourself completely. And I'm going to finish with this. I am myself so completely when I am with people that my humor comes out, my playfulness comes out, my reverence comes out, my holiness comes out. These things come and are present in the experience. I'm not changing or adapting myself, but I am attuning myself and allowing myself to know that it's in me, to feel that ocean, and that ocean energy of all-knowing is there for me, and I'm there for it. So I'm not going to go further than that because sometimes I can drift away from what we're actually talking about. Life force. The ocean is a life force for me. It reminds me that I'm all-knowing, and it reminds me that I can feel my own evolution. That as I chip away at things that aren't important in my life anymore, as I get older, as I'm lucky to be aging at this time, to have this experience of things falling away, and what's left is that I can start to really understand and feel my evolution. I can feel it, I experience it, I know it. I know that I can come in and trust the energy of the ocean and know that I have a presence to be with someone from that place, not from the place of civil, but from that place of ocean. So, blessings. Go be by the ocean or the water if you can. Experience that is this week, and then we'll check in next week and we'll move into the next life force. Have a great one, and we'll see you back here on the porch.